If you're a 16th century king, part of your job is basically like traveling around and conquering other countries and trying to take over other places. So imagine how embarrassing it must be to find out that your wife wages war better than you do. This is another story of Henry VIII, but this time it's about his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Year is 1513. King Henry is just 22 years old. And for some reason, he has this wildly ambitious heart-on for France. He believes that he needs to be the king of both England and France, that that's his right. And he's not going to stop until he gets there. He'd already declared war on France once the year before, and it was unsuccessful. And he was a little bit embarrassed. So the second time around, he's decided he's going full tilt. Now, his wife, Catherine, she's originally from Spain. She's a Spanish princess. She's the daughter of Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. So she's like, you know what? If England takes France, then it saves Spain from having to get their hands dirty. And she's like, go for it, honey. Let's do it. You go get those French. And this time, Henry rallies everybody. He takes all of his most important advisors. He takes a gigantic army with him, and they go cross the English Channel because he is taking the most important members of his council and all of his advisors and his military leaders with him, and a lot of artillery, a lot of weaponry, a lot of everything with him. He needs to leave someone in charge. You know, like in the US, when we have like the designated survivor, that's usually like the Secretary of Agriculture, somebody really non-important because you don't think anything's going to happen. Well, that's what he thought. He never thought anything would happen in a million years. So he left his wife in charge. Catherine, you're the regent. And she's like, I got you, baby. I'll take care of England while you're gone, because nobody ever thinks anything's going to go wrong. But they forgot about the Scottish, because the Scottish, under King James IV, the Scots are like, wait a minute. We're allied with France, and you just hauled your entire army across the English Channel to go attack our ally. And that pisses us off. So if you don't get your asses back here, we're going to invade England. Now, I don't know, maybe Henry doesn't take this all that seriously because King James is his brother-in-law. King James is married to Henry's older sister. That was like one of the arranged marriages. So they have an alliance between the two countries. So Henry's like, Scots aren't going to attack us. They'd be foolish to do that. And Catherine's like, how rude to attack us when we're like basically left with women and children. Like, that's not very noble of you. But she's a pretty serious woman. And so when King James sends word, because back then it was polite that you like formally declare war, he sends word that they're about to invade. And Catherine's basically like, you know what? He steps one dirty fucking boot across that border and I'm going to finish him. Like, she doesn't need to be told twice. So she starts to prepare for war. Now, because Henry has all of the best soldiers and commanders with him, leadership of the remaining English army, which is basically a reserve army, is left to the Earl of Surrey. Thomas Howard is his name. He is 70 years old. And this is 1513, when men were lucky to make it to 50. Old man Surrey's fucking holding on, but he is a soldier through and through. He's also made some mistakes. He's gotten on the bad side of the king. His name's a little bit mud. So this is a chance for him to make a name, like get his family back in the king's good graces. And if that name doesn't sound familiar, he's a Howard, which means in the future, we will see not one, but two of his granddaughters, Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, go on to be queens. So he does get their name back into the king's good graces. But for now, Surrey's like, I'll take on this battle. I got you, queen. Let's go do this. Now, the Scots are geared up because King James is thinking, wait a second, this is my once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that not only can I invade England from the north, but I can go all the way south, and I can probably get all the way to London and sit my ass on Henry's throne before he gets back over across the English Channel. Like, and by the way, Henry refuses. He gives Henry the chance. He says, stop what you're doing in France and come back home, and all of this goes away. And Henry's like, no fucking way. I'm here. I have my entire army here. We're winning. He's winning these small little skirmishes along the way because he has overwhelming force. So he's winning these little skirmishes. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. I dare you to invade England. So he does. Now, Catherine's job here is to really basically rally the troops. Like, she believes she's going to have to like travel north and make some big speeches and really encourage these men to fight. It turns out she doesn't need to. for some reason, whether it was sense of duty or they were all just itching to kick some Scots ass. They're like, nah, we got this. Surrey is shockingly outnumbered. The Scottish army at one point was well over 80,000. Now they had some desertions and injuries and all kinds of different things go wrong. So by the time that the battle takes place, and this is the Battle of Flodden, by the time it takes place, the Scottish army has about 34,000 men and they have the high ground. Like they are terribly outnumbered, but they know the English countryside. They know what to do. The Scots are encamped. Like they're like, this is where we're staying. We've taken over this patch of land. Come get us. And the English know the area better. So they start to kind of work this whole like outside maneuver to go around. And that's when the Scots are like, fuck, we have to do the one thing we didn't want to do. We have to go fight them in the open field. Like we have to go out into open battle, which is where the English are going to kick the shit out of them. This is such an overwhelming victory for the English. They not only push the Scots back, but they go back, they push into Scotland. The King of Scotland, King James IV, is on the battlefield. He's actually on the battlefield fighting, and he's killed. They've killed the King of Scotland, plus many of his high-ranking noblemen and military leaders. They take the Scottish flag and the king's bloody coat, and they send them, Catherine sends them to Henry as trophies, sends them to Henry in France. And he's like, oh, thanks. Yeah, my wife just won a war while I was gone. But this doesn't just mean the death of a king of Scotland. The king's heir to the throne, the heir to the throne was only 17 months old. And since they killed the king and so many of his noblemen and his advisors, this sends Scotland into a major political crisis because who's going to lead them now? Now, this victory helps Surrey get back in the good graces, but it also helps Catherine prove to the people of England, like, yes, she is a Spanish princess, but she just fought and won a battle for England. She is an English queen, and they love her for it. Henry, for his part, won some skirmishes in France, and of course, he comes home to huge fanfare because he's a king, and he insists, like, you all pat me on the back because I took these 4 small towns and I am a conquering hero. By the way, the French then retook those towns like as soon as he left, but that's neither here nor there. He comes home to parades and victory, but what he can't help but think in the back of his mind is the one thing that's going to scare him later. And he decides he wants to leave his wife Catherine for Anne Boleyn, and he hopes she'll go quietly because guess what? She's so extraordinarily popular. And the thing he's afraid of most is that she will rally people and the army against him. What this does is this makes him fear his wife. And she proves that he has a good reason to be afraid.